that is where we were impacted more, no doubt about
Mhm.
that.
Now, with the Great Resignation, as you just brought up, there's been a lot of talk about these new AIs that are coming out, the new software that is coming out, and people are kind of saying, okay, well, I resigned. Now I can't find a job because I'm going to be replaced by a robot. You know, talk to me about that, because it's not only Chat GPT is a huge issue right now, but you have people like Steve Wozniak who just came out kind of discrediting it, saying, okay, well, it's good, but it still has some fumbles. Um, and then you have, like I said, other people worried that the technology is moving faster than the actual process itself. So let me know your expertise on that and where you're feeling this is all going.
Yeah. So that's a great question. It's so timely. It's one of the biggest questions I'm being asked right now when I talk to prospects and other, industry peers, other marketers in the financial services realm. I just got off a LinkedIn Live where we had a massive turnout where we focus specifically on Chat GPT and how this technology can really change the playing field when it comes to financial services marketing. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how I'm using it. And I know you brought it up in the context of the talent crunch. Yeah, the way that this technology is growing, I mean, there are jobs, where people job hopped out of that job, where the business who lost that employee is just going to replace them with outsourced solutions and technology. It's a big thing that we're going to be seeing. So there is at first they called it the Great Resignation, then they called it the Great Reshuffle, because people who were getting laid off by one company were getting very quickly hired by another one who needs more talent. That's going to start to dry up a little bit. We just had an enormous jobs report for the month of January. We added 500,000, new jobs, which way outperformed expectations. But we've got a Fed who wants to chop those down. I mean, we have a Fed who is determined to chop down wage inflation, and the best way to chop down wage inflation is to get this hiring trend to slow down. They need some people being unemployed. That's the only thing that's going to bring down wage inflation, which is driving overall inflation. So one thing, as the Fed continues its actions and as this technology, continues to surge, and not just AI technology, but when you look at robotics and everything else that's going on right now, yes, we're going to get to a point where a lot of employers are fed up with dealing with job hoppers and whatnot, and they're just going to outsource and use technology to replace a lot of these positions. So I think we could have a perfect storm where jobs dry up very quickly between just the climate, the Fed and its motivations and the overall economy, and just where certain businesses are moving. I
We're also
remember
seeing that. We're also seeing that in stock prices too, where employers are not going to have that much overhead if they cut the human aspect.
And I'll give you an example of how I'm using some of this technology, from a practical standpoint. So as a public relations agency, we're constantly reaching out to media and influencers to position our clients to get interviewed and be able to contribute to their stories and get them a good steady flow of press. So the other day I used my AI software. I actually don't use Chat GPT. I use a competing technology with it that's a little bit more catered to the type of work that I need to use.
I've seen there's multiple out there.
There are, yeah. So I entered in a prompt and told it to pull up a list of the top 50 personal finance journalists in America, give me their name, the outlet they write for, and their email address. It churned that out in 10 seconds. Had I given that chore, 6 months ago, if I had given that duty to an intern, would have taken them at least 2 days. It probably would have needed a lot of climbing up, whatever end product that I received.
Right.
This did a very precise job and churned it out in 10 seconds.
Right.
So the pro version of this technology that I use, the subscription is, I think, around $350 a year. Literally just from that one prompt I gave it, it almost paid for the entire year. That one assignment I gave it that it crunched out in 10 seconds, what I would have paid an intern to complete a project like that, pretty much just paid for itself for the whole rest of the year.
I'm hearing that it's very useful in healthcare. It's being, so I mean, like a lot of middle managers, a lot of, jobs are going to be